On to our next section. In chapter 2, 2.5 is talking about proving segments and angles. So the idea of a proof. So this is an important piece of geometry. It's an argument. So I'm going to make an argument and use deductive reasoning. And if you remember, deductive reasoning is the type of reasoning we need rules and postulates and theorems and axioms to show and prove that something is true, that a statement is true that they give us. So it's not, remember, like inductive reasoning where I can just use patterns and say, here's my answer. Deductive reasoning is a little bit more precise. So one of the theorems that we're going to need to help us with our proofs is theorem 2.1. And it's about the properties of segment congruence. It's all about proving that a segment is the same as another one. So the reflexive property of segment congruence, we've talked about what reflexive is. It's just matching both sides. And this actually right there is wrong. Oops. Matching exactly on both sides. So AB is congruent to AB. The symmetric property tells us AB, if it's the same as CD, then CD has to be the same as AB. And lastly, the transitive property that we've been talking about, if they say that AB is the same as CD, and if CD is the same as something else, then those two pieces have to be the same, that first and second. Sometimes it's easier to put like a number on it with the transitive property. If 1 is the same as 2, and 2 is the same as 3, then 1 has to be the same as 3. Sometimes with all those letters, it gets a little bit confusing. The next theorem today is theorem 2.2, and it's talking about properties of angle congruence. So this time we're talking about angles, last time was segments, but you're going to notice it's almost the exact same thing. It's just talking about angles. Reflexive, of course, is matching exactly on both sides. Symmetric is flipping them around. So if angle A is the same as angle B, then angle B is the same as angle A. And again, the transitive, if A is congruent to B and B is congruent to C, then A and C have to also be the same, that transitive property. Again, this section though is just all talking about angles, and that section was talking about segments. The last thing I want to add on here, you actually have this in your notes all the way back in chapter 1. It was in section 1-2, but we use this a lot right now in our proofs. So I just wrote it down as another little reminder so you wouldn't have to flip around too much. But a reminder of the definition of congruent segments says that if AB is congruent to CD, I can say that AB is equal to CD. That equal and congruence, that I can set them as the same.